Yo guys, right now we have new limited merch over on Teespring, and I just revamped my Patreon with some brand new perks, early thumbnail access, as well as a surprise charm every month. Also, I stream Best Team for Radical Red right here. Sub the Zora for Best Team for Radical Red Let's Play, episode 1's up by the way. Sage, anime. Follow me on my socials, especially Insta and TikTok. I'm getting really active out there. You may even get subtle hints for videos and cute pet photos. All these will be in the description below and in the iCard above. Alright you guys, it's time to continue from yesterday's video and present the upper half of my weakest to strongest rankings of the legendary Pokemon. We handled 68 through 35, and now it's time to handle the other 34, which is pretty much filled up with the best of the best. Make sure you watch the first part if you happen to miss out on it before watching this one. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Starting off this half of the list, we have Lattias. The best way I can think of to describe Lattias is the bulky sister to Latios, having its base 110 speed just like Latios, while having its offenses and defenses flipped. If Lattias could still Mega Evolve, it'd easily be higher on this list. But even with the loss of its Mega Evolution this generation, it's gained access to options such as Aura Sphere and Mystical Fire to help handle checks such as Dark, Steel, and even Ice types without having to run a mixed set. Similar to Latios, this Pokemon was buffed immensely this generation, making it a perfect start to this list at 34. Coming in at number 33, we have none other than Zapdos. Zapdos is a phenomenal electric and flying type, with very capable options in both defense and offense this generation. Getting access to Hurricane for reliable flying stab helps this Pokemon break past a majority of things in the metagame, especially when considering how much that assists its electric stab in clearing resistances such as grass types. Not only this, but having reliable recovery in Roost and a solid base 100 speed, this Pokemon is able to sit in front of it while also using its base 125 special attack to break a substantial amount of Pokemon. A Pokemon like this truly has earned its spot at number 33 on this list. Following up the first electric and flying option on our list, we have another in the form of Thundurus. Thundurus sneaks in right above Zapdos for a couple of reasons, with one of those reasons being its speed. In both forms, its speed surpasses Zapdos, with Therian hitting 101 and Incarnate hitting 111. Not only this, but Thundurus, regardless of the form, has the offenses to go either physical or special, making it a very potent offensive threat. With immerse coverage, such as Focus Blast and Sludge Wave specifically, or options like Hammer Arm or Fly physically, this Pokemon has a lot going on for it move pool wise, especially among the Dynamax mechanic this generation. Incarnate serves as a strong Dynamax option with coverage to boost both offenses, along with its speed stat and taking advantage of Defiant in order to gain more physical attack boosts when enemy Pokemon try to lower your stats with max moves. Next up, we have Tapu Koko, which is a beloved legendary for its power and legacy. It has base 130 speed and 115 base attack, rocking out as a fantastic electric type. It doesn't exactly make usage of its fairy typing all that well, as it doesn't have access to any physical fairy type moves, but it does have great electric type moves like Wild Charge. And if you want to make it special, you can use Calm Mind and take advantage of other moves like Electro Ball, Dazzling Gleam, and Grass Knot. It takes advantage of Electric Surge too, which really keeps it rolling. If it just had more coverage in its move pool, it'd have been a little higher. Coming from Gen 3 now is Latios, which sits comfortably in our top 30. It's a fantastic Pokemon on the special side, with 130 base special attack and 110 special defense, as well as 110 speed. Its move pool is where it shines, having access to Calm Mind and a plethora of stab moves like Psyshock and Dragon Pulse, as well as coverage options like Aura Sphere and Mystical Fire. There's a lot more that can be done with Latios, but its stats, outside of the special end, are part of why it isn't higher. At our number 29 spot, we have none other than the dreaded Celesteela. Celesteela is known for taking a number of hits from opponents due to its steel and flying typing. On top of this, however, Celesteela has options to break teams offensively as well, with its strong coverage, such as Earthquake, Giga Drain, Flamethrower, and a plethora of other options. One buff offensively it gained this generation was the addition of Meteor Beam, which combined with Autotomize and Power Herb helps Celesteela break through teams like never before due to the +1 special attack boost you gain from Meteor Beam, and the fact it has very strong special coverage against fire types that would otherwise scare you. Celesteela still can sit on teams however, but it didn't gain any notable toys this generation that changed how you play defensive Celesteela. Leech Seed, Protect, Toxic, and a fourth move, however, should suffice plenty here to make Celesteela a worthy defensive titan of 29 on this list. Up next, we have another flying type, and the first ever pure flying type, at that being Tornadus. Tornadus has two incredible forms, one being its incarnate form with strong mixed defenses and prankster for nice utility purposes, and the other form being its Therian form, with an immense 121 speed and regenerator, with some well-rounded stats to support. The biggest new addition Tornadus gained this generation, however, was Nasty Plot, meaning that Tornadus can function as a sweeper like Thundurus can. In tandem with Hurricane, and very similar coverage to Thundurus on top of that, Tornadus basically just felt like a better version of Thundurus in every way as an offensive Pokemon. Having Regenerator on Therian as well, though, helped give this a nice defensive role as well, which also allowed it to sneak as high as it did on the list. Spectreer is next, one of the newest legendaries introduced in the 8th generation. It's a very compelling Pokemon, boasting base 100 HP, 145 special attack, and 130 speed, so essentially, it'll hit hard and quickly while relying on moves like Shadow Ball and Dark Pulse. And if you want to set up Calm Mind, that's possible too. It's got the Grimnay ability, which is basically Beast Boost for the special attack stat. All in all, Spectreer is a strong option that just lacks defensively. So, we talked about Spectreer from the Crown Tundra, and we're following it up with Urshifu from the Isle of Armor. Urshifu has got two different forms, both being the fighting type, but one being water and the other dark. The two forms result in the same stat line with 130 attack and 100 defense, along with 97 speed. It's got two signature moves being exclusive to the forms, which are Wicked Blow and Surging Strikes, both resulting in automatic critical hits when applicable. As is with many Pokemon that missed out on being higher, Urshifu's defenses on the special side is what holds it back here. Alright, so next up, we've got the leader of the forces of nature, Landorus. Both of its forms are really good, one having 145 attack and the other 125, though they fundamentally work a bit differently. In its Therian form, it's more of an attacker that will turn to Earthquake and Stone Edge to wreak havoc, but in Incarnate, it can be a mixed attacker, and also support more often with moves like Defog and Stealth Rock. It's important not to sleep on sheer force on the Incarnate form, and really just don't sleep on Lando in general. Whether it's the games or the TCG, it's definitely legendary. Up next, we have one of the only two Uber Ultra Beast Pokemon, being none other than Naganadal. Its special attack is 127 and its speed is 121, which I definitely can see as being some top tier stats. But the rest of its line is base 73, so I get a little confused about how this thing is rated so high. It's got nice typing with Poison Dark, and good moves like Sludge Bomb, Dragon Pulse, and Dark Pulse that take advantage of Stab and provide coverage. I can see why it would be considered good with Beast Boost, and those two high stats and move pool and all, but I definitely think it's not as good as the other legendaries and Ubers. So, not counting Necrozma or the Cosmoem evolutions, this is the strongest Ultra Beast we've got on this list. I'm talking Pheramosa, with its 137 base attacks and 151 base speed, making it the kind of attacker that can outspeed anything. The biggest issue for it though, is being a complete glass cannon with no way to take a hit. Bug Buzz or Close Combat, depending on the attack stat you wish to focus on, are both awesome stab moves that Pheramosa will use, as well as coverage moves like Poison Jab, Ice Beam, or even Triple Axle. It is the best of the Ultra Beasts, and with any sort of bulk, it easily could have made it into the top 20. It's really saying something when a Pokemon can be in a great position thanks almost exclusively to its typing. In here, we've got Dialga, which is one of the few Steel Dragon types. In a world where the Fairy typing is essentially the strongest, a Pokemon like Dialga is here to balance things out. It's got 100 HP and 120 defense, along with 100 special defense, which allows it to eat hits, and thus no poison types can hurt it at all. And the only weaknesses it has to deal with are ground and fighting. Now, offensively, it has 150 base special attack, and can call upon Flash Cannon and Dragon Pulse alongside Draco Meteor to get the most out of its stab typings. Fairy types are going to be destroyed by a Flash Cannon. And quite honestly, you can even use Bulk Up on this thing since its physical stats are both base 120. The only thing truly hurting Dialga is a lack of reliable recovery, which hurts it in comparison to other Pokemon, especially other Steel types higher up on this list. Speaking of Steel-type Pokemon with recovery, coming in at number 21 is none other than Solgaleo. Solgaleo's Steel and Psychic typing come together well, and its 137 base HP combined with a 107 defense really rounds it out as a great defensive legendary. As for the attacks, Sunsteel Strike is effectively a base 100 physical move that also adds in Mold Breaker to its damage. This means Pokemon can't use things such as Unaware, Multiscale, etc. in order to get past this Pokemon's damage. It's got 137 base attack and a move pool that covers for practically all of its weaknesses, earning it a spot just outside of the top 20. Leading off our top 20 is none other than Reshiram. Reshiram is a phenomenal specially offensive dragon with a secondary typing in fire that not only provides a way to make Fairy neutral against Reshiram, but also is a strong way to get around steals, both of which are typical dragon switch-ins. In the 8th generation, it can wear heavy-duty boots, which stops any chance of stealth rocks hurting it at all, thus allowing it to use that 150 base special attack to fight back really hard. Its ability is its own version of Mold Breaker, and moves like Fusion Flare and Blue Flare take center stage. Plus, Reshiram has got Roost, so it is a viable option for recovery. It's a great legend, and thus finds itself right here, right in the top 20. The next Mon in our top 20 is none other than the Generation 8 mascot, Zamasunta. Just look at how cool this thing is in its crown shield form. It's awesome, it's typing, steel and fighting. It's just a really great one offensively. Its stats give us a 128 base speed steel type that has 145 defenses and 130 base attack. With a stat line this impressive, you'd think this Pokemon would have landed higher on the list, right? Have you ever seen such a bulky Pokemon with the kind of speed that this thing has? For a defensive Pokemon, it also has access to a fairly strong offensive stat that it can use with Behemoth Bash, which crushes Dynamax Pokemon by doubling its damage output against them to 200. Its ability gives it a defense boost whenever it switches in as well. Close Combat, Play Rough, the Elemental Fangs, there's so much coverage. Sadly, however, even with all these benefits to it, Zamazenta still lacks any form of setup other than Workup. And on top of that, for a defensive typing made in Generation 8, it didn't even get the new fighting type move, Body Press. If it even just gained access to Body Press, this Pokemon would easily be far higher on this list. Speaking of defensive Pokemon, next up we have the defensive Titan, Giratina. It's got a duo of forms that either have 120 base defenses or attack, judging on whether it's in the origin or altered form. Regardless though, it'll have 150 base HP and be able to take some hits. It's a fantastic support Pokemon that can use Toxic, Will-O-Wisp, and Defog. It's the first real support Pokemon we're talking about in this video, and it being here in the top 20 is proof that a support Pokemon is just as important as anything else. Hey look, another dragon type. It's Palkia's time to shine with a nice dragon water typing and 150 base special attack. It's even got 100 base speed, which is a little surprising considering you look at Palkia and probably not think of it as being speedy. A move like its signature Spatial Rend is great, as it has a high critical hit ratio alongside 100 base power. Not to mention it's also got great coverage moves like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and something like Heavy Slam, which can offer true coverage. It's just pretty dang good, but just not as great as its other Gen 4 box art legendaries. So next up, we've got Groudon making an appearance. And let me just say that if it could still use Primal Reversion, it would definitely have been higher on the list. Its attack stat is ballooned up to 150 base, and its defense is almost as good at 140, meaning it's a physical wall in every sense of that idea. Its major issue is having just Fire Punch and Heat Crash as physical attacking fire-type moves, though I guess the latter is pretty good on a Pokemon that weighs 2,000 pounds. At number 15, we have none other than Kirum. Now, as I've been doing throughout the list, I'm counting Kirum as well as its black and white forms. Now, regular Kirum is merely okay with 130 base attacks on both ends, and those can balloon up to 170 depending on which form you choose to rock out with. Both Kirum forms can take hits, and they can smack back even harder. And with moves like Fusion Bolt and Fusion Flare, as well as general ice and dragon moves like Outrage, Dragon Pulse, and Ice Beam, well, you can pretty much make use of a lot of stab. Dragon Dance can be used to set up, Roost will allow all forms to heal, and there is more than enough coverage to go up against any weaknesses. Kirum is really good, and this generation was a great way to buff Kirum Black to a level of a true box art legendary threat like its other form. On to number 14, we have one of the most annoying walls in Pokemon history, Lugia. Lugia is one of the best walls we've spoken about up to this point, with 106 base HP and 154 special defense, as well as 130 defense. It's been taking hits for decades now, and then shooting back with Aeroblast, Hurricane, Psychic, you name it. You don't have to just be offensive either. If you take advantage of its defensive abilities, you can just Toxic Stall Pokemon while constantly healing with Roost. Speaking of ability, it's got multi-scale too, so it's always going to be taking the first hit in battle extremely well. You can use Calm Mind too, if you want to attack and defend. Gosh, really, Lugia is just so good. It's even fast at base 110 speed. It could very well have been higher. But, as I like to say, this is just proof of how good legendary Pokemon really are, if Lugia is here. One of the most shocking placements on the first glance, coming in at number 13, we have the Skydragon Rayquaza. See, since Megas don't exist anymore, some Pokemon's power and usability have really changed. Now this Pokemon used to be banned. Remember that? Its Mega was so good, it destroyed the game, and the Anything Goes tier had to be made. It would have been one of the strongest by far if we were counting Megas. But, since we aren't, it has fallen from the top 5. Don't get me wrong, it's still got great stats with 150 in both attacks, and an ability that prevents the weather from existing. It cripples weather teams, and its move pool including Outrage, Dragon Ascent, Air Slash, and Earthquake? Well, that just tears down Pokemon. And don't even get me started about the rare Rayquaza you can find that is V-Create, which is just downright unfair. I think that's all that needs to be said about Rayquaza. It's not a top 5 Pokemon anymore. And man, it just feels weird to even say that. This might be hard to believe, but starting off the top dozen on this list, we have Zekrom. Zekrom has an incredible physical attack stat at base 150, 120 base defense, 100 HP, and 90 base speed. It's stupidly strong, and it can take some physical hits while actually maintaining a rather decent speed. It's got moves like Bolt Strike and Fusion Bolt, which are both very good electric type moves, and Outrage too. It's just a strong attacker with its own version of Mold Breaker for an ability, and it was super deserving of being up this high. Not only this, but with the addition of Dragon Dance this generation, Zekrom has become a monster to deal with, since it carves out a niche as one of the few physical breakers in a meta mostly dominated by special offense. Zekrom, with this one simple buff, has truly made a strong name for itself, putting it at number 12 on this list. Just missing out on our top 10, we have the original Uber and one of the strongest psychic Pokemon in existence, Mewtwo. I know, for a lot of you, Mewtwo is the best legendary, even with its Mega Evolutions. After all, it has 154 special attack and 130 speed, which are just nuts under most circumstances. Mewtwo has a certain level of bulk too, with its 90 base defenses and base 106 HP, meaning it's something you don't have to worry about immediately losing in battle. Its moves include Psystrike, which is a supremely strong version of Psyshock, and for coverage, it has access to a slew of excellent special moves, including Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Energy Ball, Shadow Ball, Hurricane, everything. Imagine having a Pokemon that has access to so many levels of coverage while also managing to boast the kind of stats Mewtwo has. It's, by most regards, perfect. However, there just happens to be 10 more Pokemon that truly rank above Mewtwo, even if by a small margin. Man, if you thought we were done talking about Dragon types, you're so very wrong. Zygarde opens up the top 10 with its 10%, 50%, and complete forms. It's got 3 different signature moves, which are all good, being Core Enforcer, 1000 Arrows, and 1000 Waves. Its 100 base attack is taken advantage of by a lot of its stab moves in the pool. Base 108 HP balloons to base 216 whenever it is put into the complete form. This bulk allows it to take advantage of setup options such as Coil and Dragon Dance in order to set up freely among other opponents, no matter what they are. And you can even use options such as Toxic or Glare to help muscle past enemies that would otherwise try to check you. With the sort of bulk it has, and moves that really make great use of its stab, Zygarde's a nice opener to our top 10. Well, we talked about Naganadal earlier and how it had a very good typing, and we're going to talk about another Pokemon with the same typing, Eternatus. I want to keep this one short, so I'll just say that its poison typing protects it as a dragon type, and offensively, it's really good with 145 special attack and 130 speed, and not to be lost either is its bulk, having 95 in both defenses and 140 HP. It's got access to moves like Dynamax Cannon, Sludge Bomb, and Flamethrower, so expect options and coverage if you do happen to use Eternatus. It would definitely have been number 1 if we had access to its Eternamax form, but honestly, that would never happen. Next, we have another box art legendary, Pokemon Moon's Lunala. Its Psychic and Ghost typing is pretty nice, even with the times for weaknesses to Ghost and Dark types. It's bulky with 137 base HP and 107 special defense, but perhaps the most important thing here is the 137 base special attack. Its ability is essentially multiscale, so it's got a good chance of surviving a first turn Dark Pulse or Shadow Ball and then responding with a move like Moongeist Beam, which ignores the abilities of Pokemon that are hit with it. I don't want to forget about Moonblast or Psychic either, which are a couple of other tremendously strong moves that make Lunala even better. This Pokemon also has a very strong base 97 speed, which among other box arts is pretty fast, enabling it to hit for massive damage before even needing to take any hits that break its Shadow Shield. Options like this for Lunala are what puts it in our top 10. Now, here we've got a Pokemon that is really helped out by an item. The heavy-duty boots in Gen 8 had helped out many Pokemon, but perhaps of all the legendaries, the one to benefit the most was Ho-Oh. Its 154 base special defense and 106 HP show it to be a major special wall, but offensively, it's got 130 attack and 110 special attack. It can take hits and not worry for even a moment about the effects of Stealth Rocks. Brave Bird and Sacred Fire can and will absolutely demolish any opposing Pokemon. With the latter causing burns more often than not, you can and will often burn Pokemon. You will cause major damage with the move pool that Ho-Oh has, including Thunderbolt and Iron Head, which can and will provide much needed coverage against water and rock types. Phoenix, Chicken, Turkey, whatever this thing is, it is the top bird when it comes to the many legends there are. And the fact that even after all this time, it's still finding new ways to get better. Honestly, that is just impressive beyond belief. So we follow up on Ho-Oh now with Kyogre, which is just such a good Pokemon. Man, it's got 150 special attack and 140 special defense. And where it really comes through as a good Pokemon is that its typing, ability, and stats all really come together well. See, the water typing is most certainly a predominantly special typing. Kyogre's ability, Drizzle, creates rain as soon as Kyogre enters the battle, and thus it can use moves like Origin Pulse, Surf, and Hydro Pump, along with that 150 base special attack and the boost from Stab and the Rain. Ice Beam and Thunder are tremendous options on Kyogre as well. Since Thunder doesn't miss in the rain, and Ice Beam can handle Ice types and Dragon types as well. I think we can wrap it up here. It's super simple. Kyogre is a great water Pokemon, and everything that goes into it comes wrapped up in a neat, dominant package. Starting off our top 5 is one of the strongest sweepers in all of Pokemon, Xerneas. Xerneas is the face of fairy typing, being the very first legendary to ever have that typing. The thing that puts this here in the top 5 is its signature move, Geomancy. It's easy to use that while having Xerneas hold a power herb, as you won't need the way to turn for it to set up, and it will immediately get +2 special attack, special defense, and speed. So, base 131 special attack, 98 special defense, and 99 speed just get the biggest freaking boost, and opens up moves like Moonblast, Thunderbolt, and Flash Cannon to be used in battle to an even stronger degree. It is versatile, it is strong, and with other moves like Defog and the Screams available to set up, Xerneas is capable of not just being an offensive mega threat, but also something that can work as a supporter. It's up to you how you choose to use Xerneas, but really, you can't go wrong no matter what. Necrozma comes next, and we're talking about the base Necrozma as well as Duskmane and Dawnwings, but not Ultra Necrozma since that form is no longer obtainable in Sword and Shield. Essentially, its alternate forms are just powered up versions of Solgaleo and Lunala, and they're tremendously strong with 157 base attack or special attack depending on the form you use. Prism Armor is a great ability that helps reduce the damage of super effective moves done across the Necrozma forms. Its move pool offers options like Photon Geyser, Prismatic Laser, and of course, Sunstill Strike or Moongeist Beam depending on the form. Necrozma has such powerful options thanks to these forms, and while at its base it isn't amazing, we're definitely giving it a high ranking thanks to those forms. Coming in at our number 3 slot is the final legend in the Kalos region to be covered, Yveltal. Yveltal, while on itself, with its stat line and typing not inherently broken, gained a lot for itself this generation. The first major benefit this generation comes with the heavy-duty boots, helping it in more defensive roles to defog or even to switch on threats more reliably to avoid hazards. In contrast, however, Yveltal having stab knockoff helps it remove boots from other opponents who may try to switch against you, such as Ho-Oh, Lunala, Lugia, or a wide variety of Pokemon previously mentioned. In tandem with its other major buffing, being the addition of Dynamax, Yveltal is a pain to defeat. Dynamax for Yveltal gives a monstrous base 130 Dark move boosted by Dark Aura, giving Yveltal an option to pressure even the best of switch-ins. If that's not bad enough, Yveltal can also boost its own speed in Dynamax thanks to Max Airstream off of Oblivion Wing, its signature move that gives itself 75% recovery of the damage dealt to an enemy. Yveltal was basically blessed with the perfect stat line and typing that truly take advantage of not only so many other Pokemon below on this list, but also especially this particular generation, which earns it a number 3 spot on this list. The Pokemon, which comes in at our number 2 slot, is in fact the Pokemon adorning the box art of the 8th generation's Pokemon Sword, Zacian. Its typing is Fairy and Steel, which a few Pokemon have shown us in the past being just a tremendous duo of typings. When you look at its stats, it has a disgustingly amazing 170 base attack and 148 base speed, while still actually maintaining competent defenses at 115 base in both. So you're meaning to tell me it's faster than the vast majority of Pokemon and stronger than just about anything? Oh, and then you're going to tell me it gets an attack stat boost from its ability every time it switches in? This is just ridiculous. After that attack boost, it hits harder than even the likes of Mega Rayquaza and Mega Mawile. Behemoth Blade is nuts, Play Rough is tremendous, and then you throw in the Elemental Fangs and Sacred Sword as well as a set-up move in Swords Dance? It's unfair, I'm telling you. This Pokemon is straight filth on every single front, and I'm glad I was able to give Zacian the respect it deserved in this video. The only reason I couldn't put this Pokemon at number 1 is due to the sheer stupidity of how over the top this next mon is. Now, back on the Grass-type top 10, I made reference to Calorix being the sort of Pokemon that could threaten Mewtwo's dominance as the top Psychic type. Well, our final spot proves just how right that actually was. Calorix is the strongest legendary Pokemon thanks to its multiple forms. I'd like to focus on the Shadow Rider and its 165 special attack, 150 speed combo. It's got 2 abilities thanks to the As One ability, meaning it has Unnerve and Grim Neigh at the same time. Unnerve is merely okay. Like if you run a berry or something, it'll use it a bit sooner in battle. But Grim Neigh will raise Calorix's special attack with each KO it achieves, making it raise up even higher. Its signature move is Astral Barrage, and it hits hard as hell. And if you want to use other moves, there are options like Psychic, Pollen Puff, Dark Pulse for good coverage. I'd like to bring up Giga Drain as well, which can easily be run to heal up this thing thanks to the obnoxiously high special attack. That's really all that needs to be spoken about, though the Ice-type Calorix is useful as well in battle as an incredibly defensive physical attacker. With a 100% accurate high base power move in Glacial Lance, Calorix Ice Rider is allowed the benefit of still carving its own niche in this meta, even if it is in most cases inferior to its insanely over-the-top Shadow Rider form. While only one of these forms is truly worthy of the very top spot on this list, neither form should be taken lightly, or it would be a world of pain for any team. Well, that's it you guys. That's all of the legendary Pokemon in the franchise thus far, ranked from weakest to strongest. It's a pretty awesome way to sort of wrap up 2020, doing something as huge as this. Thank you all so much if you got through both videos, and let me know what you think about my ranking below and if I got this one right. This was seriously a lot of fun, and I like to see what you think about them, so let me know. So with that said, thank you to everyone for watching the video. Huge thanks to my phenomenal team and the amazing art done each week by Danny the Demon. I couldn't do all this without them. If you all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too, as it really helps us out. I also do other content on my Twitch, where I stream Genshin Impact, Mystic Zora, where I do Pokemon Let's Plays and other gaming content, and of course MysticSage, where I do all anime content. Right now, I'm focusing on Inuyasha and Yashahime, so if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. If you'd like to support me even further than that, check out my Patreon. Whether it's a $1 tip to get early thumbnail access, or the $10 tier to get cool perler bead charms and a shout out. There's tons of reasons to join today. These lovely people did, and I thank them all so much for their support. It really means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Umbreon, and I will see you all next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.